Live from Owings Mills, Maryland, it's the Max Fortune Show. Whether it's becoming a success by achieving your dreams and goals, growing your business, or unlocking your full potential, the Max Fortune Show specializes in helping you maximize your fortune. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Max Fortune Show.
Hello, and welcome everybody to the Max Fortune Show. I'm your host, Max Fortune, and for those of you who don't know, I'm an author, motivational speaker, and a book coach. And today on my show, as usual, I have my co-host Joe Farina here. And Joe is the Director of Sales and Marketing here at Fortune Publishing Group. He was also owned multiple businesses, both online and offline, and is a highly skilled entrepreneur and a personal development specialist who has had his work published in both book and online form or magazine form. So glad to have you here, Joe.
Well, thanks, Max. And the Max Fortune Show is recorded live. The show has calls coming in from viewers on social media and through our listeners. We welcome viewers to comment with questions online by going to Ask Max Fortune on Facebook. You can join the conversation during the show by calling the new show number, which is toll-free 844-220-2266 to interact with myself or Max. And you can also email our show producer at maxfortuneshow@gmail.com. And as always, one of our lucky guests who interacts and provides a lot of great value and content is going to win 3 days, 2 fun-filled nights to a vacation of their choice, compliments of the Max Fortune Show.
That's right. That's right. So kind of get those phone fingers dialed in.
Light them up.
Definitely dial in or send us a comment. Again, if you send a comment in, we'll be able to see it right here on our screen, and we'll be able to kind of react to your comment as soon as we can kind of get it in. So again, we definitely look forward to doing that. Also wanted to talk about our meetups. We're doing some writers workshops. This one we did last week was, the rain was, it was rainy. But we still had it. We still were there. And again, we're going to hold these events rain or shine. So the next one's going to be September 19th. Good information here for you, for those of you out there who are aspiring to write a book or want to kind of learn more about the book publishing process. It's a free workshop. So again, you don't have to pay. We just ask you to sign up and register at fortunepublishinggroup.com/workshop. Okay, fortunepublishinggroup.com/workshop. Again, this it'll be from 7 to 8:30 on September 19th. So write that down on your calendar. September 19th. It'll be in Owings Mills at 10220 South Dofield Road at the Rebate Realty office. So again, write that date down. Hopefully, we'll look forward to seeing you. But more importantly, we'll send you information when you register, so we do want you to register by going to fortunepublishinggroup.com/workshop, and we'll get you all registered right in. And so today, on this segment of the Max Fortune Show, we're going to be talking about setting deadlines and the importance of setting a deadline for achieving goals. There's so many people out there who set goals out there, but again, or have goals in their mind, but don't ever set deadlines to accomplish or achieve those goals. So we want to talk about that. The importance of that. And so deadline is that time frame in which you set specifically with the time frame. What's going on?
Time frame
in which specific goals you set are accomplished. So again, that's what you want to set as your deadline. And it's very, very important that you set more than one goal at a time. I think some people don't think that that's important. That's an important skill to be able to set more than one goal at a time. And we're going to get into a lot of this. But for whatever goal and for each goal that you set, it's very important to set a deadline for each one of those goals. And you should be setting long-term, short-term, and mid-range goals. And with each one of those long-term, mid-range, and short-range, you should have long-term deadlines, mid-range, and short-term deadlines as well. Brian Tracy said goals in writing are dreams with deadlines, and I really agree with that a lot. So every goal you set in life should correspond with a deadline. So we're going to be talking about that today, and the importance of setting a deadline, how to set deadlines, and how to overcome dealing with deadlines, or just the whole importance of it all. So hopefully you'll enjoy this show. Before we get started into the show, please share this show with anybody that you know who is a goal setter, a go-getter, or somebody who needs to get going, or you need to get moved, somebody who's on the couch right now, and you need to send it to them. and tell them, hey, look, you're going to be talking about setting some goals and setting some deadlines for some goals. Just share it with them, and share it with them right now. So again, let's get right into it.
Good, yeah. And I guess the best analogy is it's like shooting for a target. And it serves as your report card, if you will. And having a goal gives you an easily markable, scorable way to tell if you hit your goal or not. So it's good to have a target, something to aim for. Gives you tracks to run on.
I agree. And as opposed to just having a goal out there in life or just saying, hey, this is what I want to do without a deadline. I mean, it's like, shooting in the air and expecting to hit something. It's just not going to happen.
Everything has deadlines. So as Jim Rohn would say, measurable progress in a reasonable amount of time. And I remember him telling the story of a third grader. How long should a third grader stay in third grade? For approximately 1 year. And if they're in there longer than that, there might be an issue.
It might be.
And so you look at that. But there's a set amount of time.
Right.
And so you can really gauge a lot from that set amount of time. If somebody's in third grade for 5 years, that's probably no good.
Probably.
So in everything in life, we want to have those measurable progress in that reasonable amount of time. So important.
I agree. And so, you know what, having a deadline actually provides you with results, and it just helps you to fine tune your efforts, and kind of the more you fine tune your efforts, you kind of get better with every attempt. And that's really the important thing with doing deadlines. And deadlines honestly should begin to start helping you foster a little bit of confidence when you can set a goal, set a deadline, reach that goal by either exceeding the deadline or doing it before, or on the time frame you say you're going to do it. I tell you, it's nothing like being able to accomplish a goal. And again, without a deadline, the goal is really just something you're wishing to do, or it's just not going to, 9 times out of 10, it's very difficult to set a goal or to achieve a goal without a deadline. So it's just a super important thing. And it may seem, I guess the word I'm looking for is, not as important to focus on this whole subject or topic, but we decided to take an entire show because it is really, really critical to the goal setting process, or achieving whatever dream or goal you have for yourself in life. You want to definitely be able to do that. We have a comment. This is family is on a roll. I'll share. Okay. All right. Chris White out there watching on Instagram. Thanks for watching on the show. So we're just watching. Sometimes hard to read the stuff.
Yeah.
So Chris White, if you're out there, get off Instagram, get on Facebook Live, buddy. No, I'm kidding. Instagram too, all those Instagram out there's people are watching us on Instagram. We enjoy that too. We just don't get to see it right here. Our producer has to show us the messages there. But again, thanks for tuning in, Chris. And everybody else out there, thanks for tuning in. And again, today we're going to be talking about really setting deadlines, the importance of that, So
setting a time frame.
Yeah, yes.
You're going to hear me harp on it a lot. And as I just said, Jim Rohn said, having measurable progress in a reasonable amount of time, it is so important to set a time frame. And if you look at that's how success is. Now, so often in life, other individuals or establishments set those time frames for us.
Correct.
And so one of the ways you can really own your life, if you will, is to start setting your own time frames for your own achievements, for your own goals. And in order to fully commit to those goals, you must set a time frame to bring them to fruition with markers along the way that really give you, again, you'll hear me say it time and time again, tracks to run on. So you've got to do that in order to take ownership of your life, your business, whatever you're trying to accomplish. There must be a time frame set.
I can agree with you more. And so if you're out there and you're listening, and get a pen and paper, we got a couple of exercises I want you to write down really quick. Just 2 quick things as far as setting goals. And if you're out there and you really have been thinking about setting some goals, and we're kind of talking about goals at a time when, in a couple months, everybody's going to be setting goals. New Year's coming about. So again, you want to just get some idea. But what I want you to do is get a short piece of paper and write down really 3 short-term goals, 3 mid-range, and 3 long-term goals. And that's kind of just get a way to get started. Just write down 3 of each, and then write a deadline that next to each one of your short-range, mid-range, and long-term goals. So you kind of just write a goal that you want to accomplish or achieve, and then set a deadline next to it. And the importance of having short-term goals, those are the goals that can be accomplished this week. So there's, I mean, even though this week it's Thursday, there's still some goals you could set, get out of bed, go to work, stuff like that. I mean, you want some more serious goals than that. But I'm just saying, you want to set goals that you could set that you can accomplish. Your short-term stuff that you can accomplish usually within a week. Midterm goals are going to be goals that they set by the end of this month. So before the month is over, those are your mid-range goals, or really within the month or within the next 2 to 3 months. Those kind of are going to be short-term or mid-range goals, and then your long-term goals are going to be anything that you're going to need to accomplish within a year, or 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Those are your long-term. And so it's good to have some long-term goals out there, but then some medium, mid-range, and then some short goals that you can accomplish right away. And it just helps you to get some momentum by getting some short-term goals. And I'll tell you really quickly, one of the things that I like to do every day is do a to-do list, which is kind of like a goal sheet for the day. And I'll tell you this: if you try this every day, it helps you get your thoughts organized, what you have to accomplish and achieve in the course of the day. But I have gotten addicted to checking off stuff on the list, and it's kind of like those, when you're in elementary school and the teacher gives you a little gold star. It didn't really mean much, but it meant a lot at the same time. You know what I mean? So my little gold star is my check off, being able to check something off on that paper. It just feels good to be able to check things off of a list. So I list my short-term goals every day on a to-do list or on a little mini notebook, and I just usually write them in there, and as I accomplish them, I just check them off. And I can't tell you how good it feels to check things off on a list. You just feel better about getting something done, as opposed to just keep carrying it around in your mind and thinking about your goals. A lot of times when that happens, again, the day just ends up getting away from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
if you think about everybody else in our lives that has moved us forward through the education process, teachers, our parents, employers, if you have your job out there and they have those quarterly reports, they have different things. If you look at the same tools that they use of writing down progress, tracking progress, moving people through the process of where they want them to be a year from now, 2 years from now, that same process is the things that we need to do ourselves. So when, like you said, when you're writing down those short-term, mid-range, and long-term goals, you're really taking ownership. And then if you really want to reinforce that, you can actually tell a story, right? And start setting those, tell a story about how you achieved your short-term, your mid-range, and your long-term goals. Start keeping evaluation, right, of your own life.
Of course. And with that, having points, evaluation points, or points, again, like my evaluation points at the end of every day. You're looking at that checklist. You're checking to see how much you got accomplished by the end of that day. And I will tell you, it feels good when you can look back and you've accomplished 10 things. And sometimes you don't accomplish everything on your goal sheet. But if you can accomplish half or more than half, that's a good thing. So you definitely want to be able to evaluate your progress on an ongoing basis. And what you'll find is you may be overlooking very important elements of achieving the goals that you want to accomplish if you don't have these evaluation points, or these points where you just kind of check in. I think you mentioned about school. I mean, think about when you are in school. I mean, there's report cards, quarterly report cards. You get 3 or 4 of those, or it depends on if you're in college or wherever. But there are midterm grades, and then there's final grades, and so there are evaluation points that are built into really most accomplishments, even starting a new job. I mean, usually it's 90-day probationary period before they decide to fully bring you on. So most things in life is going to have an evaluation point. So why shouldn't your goals, why shouldn't the things that you want to achieve in life have some of those evaluation points? Because without it, it's just hard to know if you're on track or not. So
yeah. And when you're giving yourself your evaluation, if you will, I guess that's the best way of putting it. I mean, not to get too stuffy, not that somebody's sitting there giving themselves report card grades, but really just giving yourself tracks to run on, and having this point to look at what you've accomplished and what you haven't accomplished as you've set your goals. And that really is your report card. You look at that and you see where you stack up to what you wanted to do, what you outlined to do, what you projected to accomplish. And then you reevaluate. Companies do it all the time. They have their quarterly projections, and then they work towards that. And if you look at, if you've ever worked in a company that has sales quotas or anything like that, they'll have daily, they break it down to daily quotas, which that is the goal to meet.
Right.
Now, more times than not, you might not make that goal, but boy, you strive towards it, and they'll stretch the goals higher and higher. Then there's a weekly goal and the quarterly goal, and you really can kind of see where you stack up.
Right.
And it really does create a track to run on, which allows for momentum to be created.
Yeah, and it's when you're speaking of sales, and that's that sales funnel, when you can kind of see a lot of times, even in the sales world. I've been in the sales world for many years, and so yourself, setting goals and deadlines for that is really critical, and having evaluation points is even more important than those kind of things, because if you don't have that, you're not looking at, okay, because normally times there's X amount of calls equals X amount of conversations, which equal X amount of sales. So it's kind of one of those things. Those evaluation points are important, and being able to have those benchmarks is just really good to know.
Yeah.
So the other thing, what you want to do is look at your deadline as your finish line. You think about track runners or really any sport. I mean, NASCAR or wherever. I mean, you got to have a finish line. You got to have a point that okay, I'm done. And so that's kind of how you want to focus your deadline. Your deadline is your finish line. It's instrumental to achieving success, and it really helps you to know when you've hit your target. So you want to make sure that you do set deadlines for goals, so that you do know when you've reached that finish line, when you can complete that, and then you set another goal right after that. And it's real important to set follow-up goals to the goals that you've accomplished and achieved.
Yeah, I would argue that if somebody does not set a deadline or that finish line, they're really not serious.
Yeah.
You really, when you look at the Daytona 500, right? How many miles is that?
500.
There you go. I was going to see if I stumped you. 500 miles. It's not 501.
Yeah.
It's not 432. It is 500 miles.
Yeah.
That is it. That's what you get, and you perform within that. So you know going into it that is it. And when you set a deadline, that watermark, that is it, you then can work to build something within that. And we've seen it. Sometimes we can get inspired by the deadline. I don't know about you, but when I lacked a certain level of maturity in schooling, they would have the midterm report, right? It would be like a 50-page extravagant research, and I would wait for till 2 days before. It was really bad.
Yeah.
I would wait till 2, but I was like with my hair on fire 2 days before. I was a research maniac, up till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I was typing away with 2 fingers. I was in, but it got done. Now, had I not had that deadline, even though I waited, what happened in that was I still knew that I had to get it done. There was no excuse. I could have gotten it done weeks earlier.
Right.
But the point is, it needed to get done. And that deadline really urged me on and really forced me to stay up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, because guess what? It was due on a certain day, and that was it. And if we can treat our life like that, where certain things in life are due on a certain day, and that's it. You either do it or you ditch it.
Yeah.
And if it's not important enough to set a goal, to set a deadline, to set a finish line, then I would argue it's probably not even worth doing. Throw it out and focus on something else.
I agree.
Hear ye, hear ye.
The other thing, you made me think about college and the way even college works. You get a syllabus at the beginning of the semester, and the teacher, the instructors are not sitting there usually reminding you of that stuff. You're just seeing people coming in and handing stuff in,
Right.
and you're just saying, oh my God, I didn't even look at the syllabus. So so the deadlines on those projects, and a lot of times you are expected to know what that deadline is and hit it. And so again, why not use all of there's so many examples of deadlines and setting deadlines and everything out there. Why not use some of those same things that you maybe are the evaluation points at work or at school to help you with your personal goals, your business goals, your professional goals, your health goals, any kind of goal that you have. Set deadlines for it and watch how much more effective you'll be at accomplishing them by doing that. And so when it comes to setting goals, you definitely have to have a burning desire, like a fire inside you when it comes to accomplishing your goals. Otherwise, again, you're just really wasting your time, and that's not something you want to do. You want to definitely be, like you said, if it's not worth setting a deadline for it or writing it down, it's probably just not worth even saying that there's a goal in mind.
Yeah.
Because again, a goal without a deadline is really just a pointless thing. It's kind of like watching a dog run around in circles chasing his own tail. You know what I mean? They're just not really getting anywhere. Or much like the cartoons back in the day, the Flintstones. You know, he'd be just moving his feet but not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that. So that's the visual image I have of anybody who sets a goal or a deadline and without, setting a goal or even having something they want to achieve and not setting a deadline. It's like you're a lot of movement, but no, you're not getting anywhere. You don't get far at all, you know?
Yeah. If you don't set a destination, how will you ever know when you get to where you want to go? You won't. And so it's so important, really is. And you should be thinking of the goals that you're going to accomplish, you're working towards accomplishing as soon as you wake up. It really is. It is a burning desire. It has to be. There's far too many distractions. And that's why I'm saying that if it's not important enough to actually set the deadline, then you probably don't even want to clutter your brain with it.
Yeah.
Throw it out. Life sometimes gets a little too complicated because we just don't play full out. Right? And we get loaded down with unfinished things all over the place. And reality is sometimes you just got to clean house. You got to do a spring cleaning in life and go, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? What am I looking to accomplish? Set those goals, those measurable things in that reasonable amount of time. And if it's not something that you're thinking of when you first wake up in the morning and you're not fired up with that direction and the things you're doing on a daily basis, then I would say, guess what? Throw it out and find stuff that you're passionate about that is going to give you that freedom to stay engaged in your life.
I agree. And so one of the ways that that's really important, you were saying about having to wake up. Think about where does everybody go as soon as they wake up to go to the bathroom? That's a great place. That bathroom mirror is a great place to put goals.
Oh, I was going to say write them on the toilet paper.
No, don't write on the toilet paper, okay?
I was serious. What a great product.
You writing your goals on the toilet paper?
No, like motivational toilet paper. Where you pull a couple sheets out and it says you can do it.
I'm not going to tell you. I had a name for that product.
We have fun.
Yeah. Anyway, no, don't write your goals on your toilet paper, okay? Use that for the proper things, but don't write your goals on your paper. But they could be written on a paper, regular paper,
Okay. Got you.
and put on your mirror, because guess what? In the morning, that's the first where most people start their day, in the morning, at the mirror, or I remember being in sales. I remember, to be honest with you, I remember hearing about someone doing this, and they said when you're in sales, you kind of find all kinds of different ways to kind of keep yourself motivated. And I was selling Electrolux vacuum cleaners door to door, and you always have to when you're doing door-to-door sales or any commission sales, you really need a lot of motivation, a lot of things to kind of keep you focused. And so I started writing goals down, and I had them on my mirror. Then I also had them, I drove around on appointments. I had them on my dashboard of the car. That's the other great place to put your goals. And I'll tell you, what gets measured gets done. Mm. So being able to see your goals every day, that's how you get them accomplished. So that's a really, really critical point. And again, like I mentioned earlier, the bathroom is a great place because that's where we start our morning. That's usually where we go at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So, that's a great place to put goals, because as soon as you wake up and you're starting your morning, you're focused, you're remembering the things you want to accomplish. Yeah. And then as soon as you go to bed, you're also thinking about that. And so, it's a great place to put them in plain sight,
Yeah. Being continually reminded of that really avoids the drift.
Yeah.
That place where you're out there in the ethers. And that's why it's so important to be anchored and reminded, set those deadlines, because it really does keep you from drifting off into the wilderness of who knows what.
Yeah, and I'm going to say that if you're not really obsessive, and I'm saying obsessive, when you're obsessed with something, it's all you think about. Mm-hmm. You're not obsessive about your goals if you're not talking to everybody about them, if you're not really writing them down. Again, they're probably not going to get accomplished, to be honest with you. They're just not. Think about today. In today's world, we have so much vying for our attention on our phones, and everywhere you go, there's somebody, there's information coming at us all the time. And so if you don't have the information that you want to retain somewhere, then again, it's going to get lost. Your idea is going to get lost, or your goals are going to get lost in, the sea of everything else that's out there. So
yeah, I will say this. I remember hearing a great guy. I've probably told you this story before. He was a top industry leader in Japan, and he talked about really setting your destination, right, your goal, and then going 100 miles an hour at it. Mm-hmm. Because when you go so fast, everything blurs, right? But if you're going slow enough, you see all the distractions. Right. You see the things trying to, best cheesesteak here. Your friend's waving you down. Hey, come pick me up. Right. And you see all the different things that are vying for your attention. But when you are going fast enough, your attention is just eyes on the road in front. When you're going fast enough, everything on either side of you is a blur. And sometimes that's how you need to be to get things done, because you're right. There's a lot of things that are pulling our attention. Get off here at this exit, biggest peach in the county, apple pie over here. Different things that are advertising for our time. Sometimes you just got to know where you're going and then go 100 miles an hour to go get it.
And one of the things I'll add to that, I agree with that 150%, and it's being able to visualize yourself reaching that goal or deadline. That is really, really super important. And I don't want to minimize that. Because if you could see yourself accomplishing that dream or goal, you can actually do it. But if you can't even see yourself doing it, getting there, accomplishing whatever that dream or goal is, it just doesn't get done. So it's very important with our minds to be able to visualize reaching that finish line and achieving whatever that victory is and accomplishing whatever goal you set for yourself. It's really important, So I would definitely focus on that. You know what I mean? And it's important stuff to focus on. So
I would like to remind everybody that the Max Fortune Show is recorded live, and show's got callers calling in, and we have viewers and listeners that are chiming in on social media. We welcome you guys to comment and engage, ask questions online by going to Ask Max Fortune on Facebook. On that page, you can see the show there.
That's right. You can also join the conversation during the show by calling the number we have here. It's toll free, so anybody who's people in Chicago or people overseas or people or anywhere you're watching don't have to even pay for the call. That's what we even pick up the tab on that. 844-220-2266 is the number. Again, it's 844-220-2266. It's like a tongue twister. But again, 844-220-2266. Real easy number to remember. Or you can also email us here at the show at maxfortuneshow@gmail.com. We don't get those immediately right away, but we will. Our producer gets that information. And as Joe always likes to talk about this vacation, send us in.
3 exciting days, 2 fun-filled nights to a vacation of your choice, to the most interactive and engaging viewer or caller. Compliments of the Max Fortune Show. So we were talking about goal setting.
Correct.
And the importance of that, and it's the importance of this to remember, is do not get discouraged. Every now and again, you're going to set some goal with a deadline, and guess what's going to happen? If you're really pushing yourself, it should happen. Right. If you should not reach your goal, it really is. It's like going in the gym and you're pushing yourself to break your record on the treadmill, or you're out running and you're trying to push to break your mile. Sometimes you're going to hit it. And as you raise the bar higher and higher, it's going to take a little bit longer to break through. And that is not a negative. You're stretching yourself. So there's that nice balance of setting healthy enough goals that are pushing you forward, right? And also recognizing that you want to have it reachable and attainable, and continually to push yourself forward, and realize that you're gonna miss your mark. So don't get discouraged.
It's said that the difference between a winner and a loser is a winner doesn't always expect to win, and losers, when they don't win, they quit. And that's really the biggest difference between winners and a loser. So in other words, winners never quit and quitters never win. So when it comes to hitting your deadline or goals, you definitely want to make sure you set goals or deadlines for accomplishment. And again, like Joe's saying, if you miss those goals, that it does mean you're pushing yourself. You're really extending yourself, and there's nothing wrong with extending yourself. And we haven't touched on this yet, but there's so much that you learn, not only about yourself, but through the goal of pushing yourself to accomplish goals. There's so much you learn in that process, and there's so much education you gain. And so sometimes that new education, sometimes we'll miss a deadline because now we have new information that we didn't know we were going to need to accomplish that goal, and we have to process that and put that into thing. But again, you still that's not always a bad thing. You've actually learned more, you've gained more information, gained more knowledge. So some of those may be reasons why that you may not hit your goal. But again, it's important to not quit or give up just because you haven't set a goal or reached the goal that you set for yourself. So definitely keep that in mind. So
yeah. Winning and quote unquote losing help to define character.
I agree.
And dealing with that. And failure is only a failure if you give up or you quit. I like to use the word experiment. I mean, sometimes I think we take life a little bit too stuffy and too seriously. We're only here for a little bit of time. So let's have a lot of fun doing it. And let's find the best in us. And the way to do that is to experiment. And if you continue to pursue your dreams and your goals, and you push past what your perceived failures are, right, you can really accomplish something amazing. And just recognizing that failure is subjective.
Yeah.
Right? It really is. And it's a necessary aspect of life. I think we've been conditioned to think of that word in such a dirty way. Oh, I failed, and we carry that weight. But really it is. That's experimenting with life, having fun with life. As Seth Godin would say, poking the boxes of life, right? We're poking around in life, and we're having fun figuring out what brings out the best in us. And when we set those goals, they really should be liberating. They should be free. And Jim Rohn I love Jim, you'll hear me talking about him all the time. He always harped on welcoming disciplines, right? The disciplines of life, the discipline of being able to be engaged, to set goals for yourself, to really want to do that, right? And to do it for yourself, to direct your own life in a way that is healthy and as fun as and exciting. So it's liberating. Just realize that, because as you grow in character, you're going to be uncomfortable, because no one grows in character while being comfortable. It's always when we're outside of our comfort zone that really grows our character, defines our character, refines our character.
I agree. And one of those disciplines that you're speaking of is pressure, and knowing how to befriend pressure, for lack of a better word. Diamonds are made under pressure, and it's very important. Oftentimes, the road to accomplishing your dreams and goals will find you under pressure, and it should. If it doesn't, then you have not set really any stretch goals, or any goals that are going to stretch you or push you or help you to grow. And if you're not setting stretch goals, you're really not growing. I mean, it can't be get up and get out of bed, brush your teeth, things like that. Those are not stretch goals. Those are goals that are not going to stretch you in any way. But pressure, and so many people, I think pressure has it can be, you don't want to have too much pressure, but you want to be able to work under pressure and have those deadlines. Those deadlines create a little bit of pressure for you to have to reach that goal, like you mentioned with the projects. You kind of wait until the last minute on those. But that's pressure.
Horrible. I would not recommend that to anybody.
You know what? We all have done that. We all have just waited until the last minute to get stuff done, and that extra pressure, but it sharpens your senses. Honestly, you know what I mean. You're now hyper focused because the clock is ticking, and So again, that's. I mean, there's different ways, so you can kind of daily have that kind of learn how to work under the positive pressure of getting those goals done and getting it achieved, and it's just like I said, there's a pleasure that you do get by accomplishing a goal that you set for yourself and getting it accomplished. And the pressure really just helps you constantly. It's a constant reminder, and as long as you keep that as a constant reminder, it just helps you to stay focused on accomplishing whatever goal you have out there for life. So I think it's really important to know, again, diamonds are made under pressure, and you will become a diamond, something that shines, something that everyone else can see, by being able to set goals with deadlines, working under that pressure, and pulling through, getting stuff done and accomplished.
Yeah. looking back now at my shortcomings through my schooling and remembering how I waited till the last minute, the one thing I can tell everyone, and you guys know this, is somebody else set that deadline for me and gave me a project that I wasn't exactly passionate about. My tendency was to put it off and put it off and put it off, but you see what a deadline did. I did something that I really wasn't passionate about doing, learning a subject that I wasn't really interested in, and took on the pressure of that simply because there was a deadline and a perceived authority looking over me, making sure that I had gotten it done. And when we assume that authority over our own life, right, where we're able to be mature enough to set those standards for ourselves and set those goals and put that quote unquote pressure on ourselves to perform, it can be a very fun and exciting time, because at the end of the day, the reality is life is not that heavy. I mean, we really get to pick and choose what is important. So as you're setting these goals, set those things that you're fun and excited about, that you're looking to achieve, and get into a habit of developing. We've talked about this before, that winning culture. And so setting those dates, I've learned setting a date is so important. It really is. It's important to develop a winning culture, because it really is the mark that we all need to shoot for. And so, look, in life, you know this, Max, either you're going to set the date or somebody else is going to set the date. Either you're going to fill your schedule with your goals, or somebody else is going to fill your schedule with their goals. And sometimes we just have to really get clear, and being able to write all that down, setting those dates, helps us get clear. And it helps us to avoid distractions, as you were talking about. And it helps us to say what? Some of the best words you'll ever say is no, right? No, thank you to certain things that might not be geared towards where you want to be at, and be okay with that. But you won't know that until you set a date, till you get clear, and until you actually make it a point to achieving your dreams and goals and putting a definite time frame on it.
And you know what, part of that whole process is writing these goals down. We're talking about that a lot through this whole thing.
Yeah.
And the whole importance of that is really, once you get something, I mean, it's so funny how we can have things stirring in our mind. We're thinking about this stuff over and over again, but the moment we write it down, it's kind of like you're thinking about your phone or your computer, you know? They have limited amount of space on them, you know what I mean? And a lot of times we can't put anything else on it if there's too much on it. And our brains work much the same way. So the moment you write stuff down, it actually allows your brain to focus on other things, because now you've freed up that space, for lack of a better word. I hope that's a good example. So writing down these goals is really important, and especially for the accomplishment. And it just clears up the mental capacity. It gives you more clarity to focus on those goals. So the goals that you also have should be, definitely, we talked earlier about expanding your horizons. I mean, if your goals are not expanding your horizons, they're probably, you know, not goals. I don't know what you would call them, but what would you call that?
I don't know. Horrible?
Yeah, probably horrible.
No, I think I know exactly what you mean. It's really underachieving.
Yeah.
And it's really playing it safe.
You know what? There's a place for playing it safe, but not with your life, not with your goals. Like you said, we're here for a short period of time. You definitely want to focus on accomplishing whatever goals you have out there. You definitely want to do that. So, I mean, hey, take the time. Like Joe said earlier, hey, if it's not if you don't even have the capacity or the ability, or don't even want to write it down or put a deadline on it, it's probably not that serious anyway. And it's probably something you're definitely not going to achieve. It's just hard to really achieve goals without a deadline. It just is. Yeah.
Sometimes we got to just stop the talk.
Yeah.
And we got to walk and develop that winning culture. And I'm very passionate about, you know, what you were just saying, is sometimes you just got to do it or ditch it. Because when it lingers around for such a long time, oh, I want to do this. There's a big difference between wanting to do something and being ready to do something and engaging in doing it. There's a big difference. Wanting is one thing, but when you need to accomplish it, when it becomes a part of your DNA, boy, that's exciting. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be that heavy. Listen, developing a winning culture and developing an idea of directing your life, Max, doesn't have to be such these grandiose things. It really can be just by starting off just every day, directing your life in one small way, because you know as well as I do, there are so many people out there that are listening to this. And if you think about it, if you're not careful, somebody else is directing your day, every minute, every second, pulling for your time. There are very few times, if we're not consciously and cognitively taking control of our life, there are other forces at work that pull us in. There are schedules, other people's expectations, whether it be significant others, family members. It's not done in a negative way, but it becomes monopolizing of our time, and then we have to sleep within that time frame, right? So we do all this stuff. If we're not careful, we lose that ability to create that winning culture for directing our life.
Yeah.
So I like to say this, you pick one or at the most a few simple goals that you can write down today that you want to accomplish and achieve in a week. And if you really want to break it down, achieve it in one day. And that goal does not have to be anything more than waking up 30 minutes early. Forget what you're going to do with all that. You've heard me talk about that before. It's just getting into that routine. When I first started doing that, I tell you, it was very hard getting up early. It really was. Just getting up really early, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And then adding all sorts of stuff to it. When I first started, I was, I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to read X amount of chapters in a book. I'm going to watch a video. I'm going to write in my journal. I'm going to do all this stuff. And it was, I took on a lot. It was very overwhelming. So what I did was I brought it back to, I'm just going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and just wander around outside, do nothing. And then without any expectation, then I started adding to that. Does that make sense? Just started adding to that winning culture, because sometimes we have a tendency to self-sabotage, and how we can do that is we gorge ourselves with too much, right? Yeah. With too much on our plate. We put too much on it so we can say, see, I failed, right? So there's that healthy balance of setting something that's outside of your comfort zone and sticking to it and developing winning culture, but making sure it stretches you outside of your comfort zone.
And so with that even in mind, or especially with that in mind, set yourself 3 goals that can be accomplished this week. Just 3 that you'll say, hey, I'm going to accomplish. Like I said, it's Thursday for us, but who knows when you're going to be watching the show. Well, there'll be a week you're going to be watching the show in, and set yourself 3 goals for that week or less. And then set 3 goals today that you can accomplish by the end of the month. And again, having goals just helps you to stay focused. Anytime you don't have goals or things that you're trying to accomplish, you're just really just wandering or meandering through life. And I think once you start setting goals, and I know this, when you start setting goals and you start seeing the focus that it does, you start seeing how much time you were wasting before, to be honest with you, how much of your time, time is, really one of the most precious commodities we have. And I'll go back and I'll say something. My mother used to always say that, really if you want to see what someone loves, you look at their time, and she would always say that the way to spell love is T-I-M-E. So whereas everybody spends their T-I-M-E is really where their love is. And so again, you want to be focused your time on things that will help you get to where you're trying to go. And again, you want to be able to do that. And setting goals, setting deadlines just helps you get focused, helps you to not just wander through the day and waste days, waste time. I mean, that's one thing you don't want to do. You do not want to waste your T-I-M-E, So
you just made me think of when we were talking earlier about pressure.
Yeah.
When we were children, I don't know about you, but we used to welcome that. I remember when I started playing baseball and stuff. I didn't play it very long, but I remember sitting there, and it was always a story of 2 outs, bottom of the 9th in the World Series, right? We're up to the plate. And it was that pressure of shining in the big moments. It's called being clutch, right? And as kids, we had that spark. I remember that. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, boom, I hit the ball. And we wanted that pressure. We wanted that. Overtime, right?
Right.
Seconds left. Final shot. We wanted it. Playing ball, the buzzer beater. Right. Going for the 3 with seconds left in the ball. We wanted that pressure. And sometimes we have to be children-like in that respect of being wide-eyed and excited to learn and to grow. I mean, as children, how many times did you fall off your bicycle? If you were like me, I was constantly jumping and trying all sorts of tricks, falling all over the place, but I got really good at riding a bicycle.
They didn't have bikes where I grew up.
No.
I'm kidding.
That's a depressing story. It's like, that's sad, man. That's so sad on so many levels. Okay. But I think just in thinking about that just really made me think. And I just want to add this too, is setting goals and that deadline and getting to the habit of staying till the end.
Yes.
Staying till the end is so important, to not leave. Too often we like to leave early, we check out. So when you're setting your quote unquote deadline, your goal for completion, commit to it. Be willing to experiment, but commit to it and see it through to the end. And then measure your progress. Do not leave too early, right, in the game of life. Stay to the end.
I agree. It's called the power of accomplishment. I mean,
Yeah.
staying to the end and staying focused. That power of accomplishment is setting that deadline and getting it, like you said, hitting that clutch play or whatever. There's nothing. There's a power of accomplishment. There's nothing. It's the best drug in the world, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? That adrenaline rush, that pressure you put yourself under, and then you hit your goal. You hit that paper. You hit that deadline. You stretch yourself beyond anything that you've ever done before, and then you hit it. I mean, that's a a powerful force. The power of accomplishment. So again, focusing on that, finalizing, visualizing yourself, seeing those goals, or seeing yourself hitting whatever goals you're targeting. Again, there's a power to that. There just is a tremendous power. So,
yeah, and you hit it with rush of confidence and excitement of completing it and experiencing completion for whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I remember in the police academy, it was 22 weeks. Not everybody made it to the end, but boy, when you did, and it was all over, and when I looked back on it, our whole entire class had a sense of accomplishment. There was just a sense of, it was a bookend, right? You had the cover was the beginning, and the conclusion was the end, and everything in between was the story. And it was really amazing to set that kind of goal. And it brought out the best in each and every one of us. I'll never forget the feeling of on graduation day going up and receiving our rewards and things like that, what that really felt like. And we used to sit there and say 22 weeks of misery, but it was well worth it in the end.
Yeah. And one of the things, I mean, I think about dreams and there are a lot of people have dreams, and dreams are those things that if you think about a dream is something you don't accomplish. It's just
in the clouds. It's up in the clouds, right? It floats
something
around
you're
up
doing
there
while you're sleeping, you know what I mean?
Yeah, daydreaming.
Yeah. But when you take your dreams and you turn them into goals, and the way you do that is really, the way you accomplish your dreams is you really take your dreams, turn them into goals, and take those goals and turn them into tasks. When you take those tasks and daily tasks, now all of a sudden that's how you take those steps to accomplishing whatever dream you have. So it's just breaking down your dreams into smaller goals that can be attainable today, this week, this month. And if you start breaking those goals down like that, next thing you know, you'll see yourself accomplishing the dreams that you have for your life, because you turn those dreams into goals, and then you turn those goals into tasks that you get done daily, weekly, or monthly, and next thing you know, you're accomplishing or achieving success. So It's like eating an elephant. There's only one way to do that, and that's one piece at a time. You just can't swallow it whole, so you got to break it down and get right into it that way.
I know that's a phrase that's used all the time, but I never even heard of anybody actually eating an elephant.
I don't know who would, but I mean,
right? I don't even know.
But
such wonderful creatures.
Yeah, they are. They're huge. I mean, it's kind of like of course it's metaphorical, but for goals and setting goals, sometimes the elephant for people. It's
right.
Like it's this enormous thing. It's really one of the biggest mammals on the planet, and so it's kind of metaphorical for that. And when your goals seem like they're an elephant, they really seem too huge to conquer.
Yeah.
And so when you break them down piece by piece into smaller pieces, then all of a sudden you got something that you can accomplish and achieve, and then you're on that path,
Yeah. It really makes me think of how important it is in order to be able to get into that headspace of being clear about what you want to accomplish and writing them down. Because if you're not, then things can seem so much bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, really, just gigantic. But if you think about everything you've ever accomplished in your life, and I know you'll agree, is when you're really clear on it, when you're really clear, you do really get confident. And that confidence creates, as I've said before, creates completion. And it's so important. So again, as you're going to write down goals, make sure they're yours, right? Make sure they're yours. And when you find out who you are, and you really get clear on what you really have been called to do in this life, and you start writing it down, you were so spot on with that, taking those thoughts, right, which are almost real, they're not quite real, but they're almost real, and writing them down. Now they become real, and you set those deadlines. Boy, when you get that, the Joe Farina method, the wheel of momentum, you know what that is? It's when you get it, you've got it. And when you've got it, you'll want it. And when you want it, you'll do it. And when you do it, you'll get it. That's the wheel of momentum.
I like that.
When you get it, you got it. When you got it, you want it. When you want it, you do it. When you do it, get it. Man. And so that's so important. So have fun. I think that's a big thing too. With any type of goal you're looking to do, big, small, medium, short term, long term, whatever. Have fun. Own your life, because that's just gonna keep you engaged when the wolves are howling at your door, when you don't feel like completing something, when you got distractions all over the place. Your passion will see you through. Your passion, a person who lacks passion has no motivation to act, a propensity to fail. You've got to be passionate.
I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And it kind of reminds me of my high school career as a wrestler. And, I was, I think I was 155 pounds back then. It was a couple of pounds ago. But I wrestled 145 pounds. So it was every week I had to lose 10 pounds, and it's a tough goal every week. And I worked at a fast food joint. So I worked at Roy Rogers. So can you imagine? I worked, I think, probably 32 hours a week in high school because I had to pay for myself or pay to get through school. Went to a private school, and I wanted to have money like everybody else went to school. I didn't have money back then, but I worked. I was willing to work, but I worked also hard in sports, and I set a goal every week because of the team that we had. You needed every wrestler to place, to hit their weight class, or else as a team you lose. And so that was, even at a young age, it was very important for me I never missed weight, not one time ever. In the years that I was wrestling at Loyola, I never missed weight, and it was just important for me. My team was counting on me to hit that weight class, and the guy above me couldn't make it down to where I was, so I had to hit it. And ironically, one time I remember losing 10 pounds inside of 2 hours. It was crazy. I don't think I won that match. I made it. I don't think so, but I was dead. But I hit the weight because I think I thought I was doing well during the day, and like I say, you have to benchmark, you got to get on the scale, and then I realized 2 hours before I was still 10 pounds over, and so I did what wrestlers do. You put on tens of trash bags and everybody's clothes, and you get a couple of showers on, and you jump rope for an hour and a half, and I did it. But the important thing is just setting goals, whatever those goals are for you, whatever goals you have, it's just important. And again, even with that, even with me setting that goal and hitting that goal, I may not have hit the bigger goal of winning that, but I just never let my team down. I would never let myself down with setting that goal of hitting that weight. And so that's where you want to be committed to your goals that have that kind of commitment. And it takes me to the story of the eggs and bacon, breakfast. When you think about commitment and being committed to your goals or whatever your deadlines are, if you think about that famous breakfast, the chicken's just involved, but the pig is fully committed, to eggs and bacon, So you want to be fully committed to
That's a good one.
So you want to be fully committed to achieving your dreams and goals, So, I mean, that's what I got.
That's outstanding. But I think, again, it's funny that this is a topic in a sense, because so many times in our life, again, you'll hear me say it over and over again. We could break a lot of this stuff down. A few basic rules here is we all are accustomed to deadlines. We all know them. We're just not accustomed to setting them for ourselves.
That's correct.
That's the foreign part for most of us. Maybe not for you out there, but I know for me in a lot of areas, it was a very difficult task because so much of my life had been ordered and directed. And that was just how it was. I was familiar with deadlines, absolutely. But setting them myself, well, that was a little bit different. That takes a little bit of a different mindset. So I want to encourage everybody to think about owning your own life, owning your own goals, owning your own area.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And realizing that reaching the destination of success, reaching it, you must first have a deadline or an end so you know you've reached it. There's got to be a measured mark, right? There's got to be that place where you've reached your summit and you put the flag in the ground and you say, hey, I've made it. And it doesn't have to be gigantic. It doesn't have to be grandiose. Again, some goals are going to be really high up there. They're going to be full of a lot of short-term goals that lead you to the bigger picture. But just making those small decisions to direct your life and realize that getting to the end, you also have to do this. Fall in love with the process.
Yes.
You got to fall in love with in between, right? Yeah. From the time you set a goal or set a destination to the completion of it, make sure you love the in between, right? Make sure you really do, fall in love with the process of it.
I would like what Barbara Nessier's out there saying. She says goals motivate us to action.
Yeah, they do.
They motivate
very
us to action.
Very good.
So, without your deadline, success does not become predictable.
Yeah.
It only occurs at random. So, anything that happens randomly, it's not predictable. You don't know when and if you're going to be successful. And so I just want to recap as we're kind of getting down to the last part of the show. Hopefully you wrote down some goals for yourself, some deadlines, some things that you want to accomplish or achieve. And so in recapping some of this, some of the things that you want to remember is make sure you shoot for a target, make sure you set a time frame, as we talked about earlier, and establish those evaluation points that are really critical and important,
Mm-hmm. Your deadline is your finish line. Don't get discouraged, because you're gonna be in a place where your experiments sometimes are going to quote unquote fail. So don't get discouraged. And just remember that the diamonds are formed under immense pressure. So sometimes you welcome those opportunities to shine.
And don't be afraid to set a date. I mean, set a date is your commitment to your goals. And again, sometimes you have to reset a deadline for those goals. And don't be afraid to do that sometimes when information warrants. And experience the power of accomplishment. We talked about that, how important it is once you set and achieve a goal. It's just no greater feeling than that.
Yeah. And I just want to reiterate this too. Do not be afraid to throw stuff away.
Yeah.
Because if it's sitting there, you want to set something, you think you want to accomplish something, but you just can't seem to do it. Sometimes the great takeaway in life is just take it away. And then see if you fight for it.
Yeah.
See if you really want it, then take it away. Don't fill your brain with it. So turn your dreams into goals. Take them out of the clouds and put them on a piece of paper. Write them down. Commit to your success. Reach the destination of success. Make it a point to see it through to the end. I love the story that Jim Rohn told about the people that really, they leave the game early to beat the traffic. And he says, what are you looking to do? What is your big claim to fame in life? Oh, you beat the traffic. Ooh, you left early. And sometimes when we leave too early, we miss the great comeback in life that happened to land Super Bowl. I think I talked about that last time we talked about this on the show. Don't leave early. See it through to the end. If it is worth you writing it down, if it's worth you talking about, if it's worth you telling other people about it and filling your brain with it, then it's worth seeing it to the end and finding out what comes out on the other side.
I agree. And those are all the do's. The don't is don't write the goals on the toilet paper.
Right. Don't do that.
Really.
Apparently, we don't want to do that unless they're bad goals.
Unless they're bad.
If they're goals, write down everything you want to get rid of that are horrible. Write them on toilet paper. Right. Use the toilet paper.
Those are for your crappy goals.
Get rid of it. Yes. Wah, wah, wah.
Okay. Anyway, I digress. Yeah. But again, the Max Fortune Show, as we're winding up, was recorded live here. So don't forget to go to Ask Max Fortune on Facebook, Instagram, follow and like these pages. Please, again, we also have the Max Fortune Show on YouTube for replays of this show and other shows, so you can always tune in and do that. We're still looking to build subscribers on the show. And tell them about our meetup on Thursday.
Yes, there is a meetup for writers who would like to write a book and get it published. That is 7 to 8:30, Tuesday, September 19th, 2017. The address is 10220 South Dolefield Road, is in Owings Mills at the Rebate Realty location. Great supporters of the show. We really appreciate them over there. And you can sign up to attend the Fortune Publishing Group Writers Workshop by visiting fortunepublishinggroup.com/workshop. So outstanding. We love everybody out there. We really appreciate your involvement and your support. We look to serve you. This is your show. It's called The Max Fortune Show, but it really is your show, you, the viewers and listeners out there. So thank you.
So for more information on the show or to become a guest on the show, call us here at 844-220-2266. Thank you for watching The Max Fortune Show. It's been a pleasure once again. I'm Max Fortune.
I'm Joe Farina.
Signing off. Have a good day, and we'll see you same day, same time next week. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching The Max Fortune Show. See you next week.